Hello, hello, everyone. How are you doing today? Good, good. Phumza, where are you dialing from?
Hi, Kate. I'm dialing from the lovely South Africa.
Wonderful. Waihiga. And where are you from?
I'm I'm dialing in from Nairobi, Kenya.
Thank you. And Jeff?
from Nairobi, Kenya.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for taking your time today and joining my hot seat session, especially our special African edition. We're going to tackle problems that Africa is facing right now. And the purpose of this session is to help, entrepreneurs or startups in your region to address their blind spots and gain competitive edge with the help of our wonderful mentors. So before we dive deeper into the topic, introduce yourself. Let us know your expertise. And Phumza, you can go first.
Thank you very much, Kate. Hi, guys. My name is Phumza Diani. And as I said, I'm from South Africa, Johannesburg. And I come with about 20 years of experience in the tech space. And in the tech space, specifically around the sales and marketing areas, and a lot of commercial modeling for new products and new initiatives. Thank you very much, Kate.
Thank you. Jeff?
Hi guys from Nairobi. My name is Jeff Nyakamba. I'm I have a lot of experience in both marketing and graphic design. I'm a graphic designer. I deal mostly in visual communication and how it integrates with marketing. And I have about 15 years experience. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you. Wow, that sounds like a lot. And Wahiga, what about you?
Uh, my name is Waihiga Kemuturi, coming in from Nairobi, Kenya, and I've been a digital freelance journalist for the last 10 years, and I've also been in the serial innovation ecosystem for the last 12 years. So just bringing that all together because tools and platforms are something I have to use every day, including right now.
Thank you, thank you. So before we, tackle a big question of this topic today, I would ask you separately, each of you a question that you can give, an extensive answer to, depending on your expertise, what you're dealing with, just to give us an overview of what's going on with marketing and sales in Africa. So Phumza, I'd like to start with you, and my question to you is, I know a lot of people are wondering, are there any key differences or unique challenges that African market is facing, when it comes to marketing and sales compared to the rest of the world?
Thank you very much for that question, Kate. I'll start by saying, as much as we think we're so unique to the rest of the world, there are actually so many similarities because Africa does get influenced by many things that happen globally. So I think the favorite saying goes, when the West or the East cough, the rest of Africa catches a flu. So you'll see when there are downturns economically, we receive them. Whether we receive them later in the process, maybe that's a benefit or an advantage we would have learned from the West or the East, but we do receive them and we become impacted by them. So similarly to the rest of the world, I mean, the whole world has gone through a phase of like an economic downturn with the COVID-19. We're experiencing the same. We've had major challenges, especially now facing the recovery. And because we are later in the game, I think we're feeling it more. We thought just after COVID we would recover fast. It's not happening. It's been at least a year after COVID. And it's so difficult to really kickstart industries and get them to the space we were before COVID. So that's the one thing. Look, and what we're facing right now, I think maybe other economies faced before us. I think the rest of the world is going through chaos at the moment, with change is just geopolitically affecting everyone from a supply chain and demand perspective. We're feeling the same. We're going through, I suppose, if you're an entrepreneur, there's a lot of challenges with companies making decisions. There's a lot of challenges with, finally procuring because companies are about saving at this stage of time, and it's so difficult to really sustain ourselves as small entrepreneurs, to sustain ourselves in whatever we're doing. So we're feeling that. We're also feeling that there's a lot of demand to show the unique value if you're an entrepreneur. So if you're coming, there's a host of others that are coming, and there's so much supply in the market and many entrepreneurs trying to make a living. But what is a challenge is how will you uniquely define yourself in the market? How will you show value? Because you have to look at it at the like the other person on the other side of the table who's looking to make that buying decision also needs to convince other people internally, because there's prioritization of budgets, there is cost savings. So from a sales perspective, you almost have to you have to sort of be versatile in how you approach the market. You're approaching the market now not only as a salesperson looking for that closed deal, but you're advising the person on the other side on how they can pitch the value to the rest of the organization. What also is happening is look, from an SME perspective, it's the best time, because here's the time where value and cost matters. And normally, SMMEs are agile, they're fluid, they can make things much faster than the bigger organizations can. And with the digital technology now, we're all available digitally. So it's the best time, whilst it's hard, to really push as entrepreneurs, because everyone is looking for value. No one is looking for, buying from companies which stuffed up overheads and little value. But this is the time where we have the same, it's an equalizer, the digital platform. We're all there, we can be visible depending on how much we invest in that. So it gives the SMME a little bit of the traction to really be visible in the market. Other than that, there's a big growth potential in Africa. Of course, that never ends. We have the youth dividend that we always talk about, and there's starting to be a transition now, with the youth learning tech. It started with just the YouTube videos, but now they are adapting as well and trying to teach themselves the creative parts of the digital platforms. And that is going to help. It's going to come. That growth is going to come. So if you're sitting outside as an investor looking into Africa, give it time. I know a lot of people are looking to see this double digit growth, and they're pushing to see the value. Give it time and give it a little bit of investment and patience. It will come like a whirlwind. Thank you so much, Kate. I hope that covers your
Thank you.
question.
Yeah, it was a great insight. It sounded super inspiring. Thank you so much. And I feel like my next question is perfectly following up with what you answered. And this question is to Waihiga. I would like to ask you, what marketing or communication trends have had a significant impact on local businesses or just entrepreneurs in your experience?
I mean, that question is huge by itself. But first, thank you for having me as a panelist at CLIAC to discuss marketing and sales trends in Africa. It does. Everybody from whatever age is actually marketing and selling themselves without even knowing. And especially if you're African, that's your daily routine. I think Fuma understands what I mean with that. So the trends I think that have been there currently is, I would say, number one, there are many. First, let me say there are many because the continent by itself is pretty large. It's fragmented, so even access to internet is at different levels, and then also opportunity cost, and then also access is very different across the continent. So it keeps on growing. There's a huge youth bulge, definitely. But anyway, some of the key trends. Number one would be digital transformation. That the adoption of digital technologies has transformed the way we as Africans do business. And it's as simple as WhatsApp, as simple as USSD, which some people might not think it's technology, but it is, because that's how M-Pesa started, one of the biggest fintechs in Africa, to say the least. Number two would be mobile marketing. With a growing number of Africans accessing the internet through mobile devices, mobile marketing has become a dominant trend. And that is SMS marketing, mobile apps. I think everybody now is doing a mobile app for something. And mobile friendly websites. That's not even a choice. It's the lowest barrier, for lack of a better way to put it, lowest barrier of entry, that your site has to be mobile friendly. You have to figure that out one way or the other. It's not even a choice anymore. And this is how you reach and engage with your target audiences. I would also talk about social media marketing. Platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp have massive user base in Africa. And also, I think it's because it's easier to access them in terms of the cost. And so that definitely helps build brand awareness, engage with customers, driving sales through targeted advertising and influencer marketing, which is really huge. So that also then brings me to the next one, which would be number 4, influencer marketing. Um, Collaborating with local influencers and micro influencers. There's actually a surge in working with micro influencers rather than macro, because they're more believable, or so it's thought. They're more believable, more friendly, definitely much easier to work with, I must admit. But there are also macro influencers who are good to work with. I would also mention content marketing. I think we've seen that a lot, creating high quality, informative, and culturally, I repeat, culturally relevant content has definitely become crucial for businesses in Africa. The other day I was talking about nearshoring and regionalization, and content marketing has been something that has also pushed that. I can go into e-commerce growth. That the e-commerce sector in Africa has seen remarkable growth, and that's not even mentioning the Jumias, the Gigi, and the likes. But it's also helped businesses reach to people they couldn't reach to before, at a wider angle and wider growth base, because when you're doing e-commerce, then you're using a platform that's already been created to go into different countries, I must admit. Key to mention here is AfCFTA, the Africa Free Continental Trade Area, which is also pushing that and trying to ensure that not only do we have a similar platform for currency conversion and all, but also trying to put one market for the whole of Africa. So that's pretty cool. I would also go to local language content. Many African countries have diverse linguistic and cultural backgrounds. If you've been here, you know that. So creating content in local languages and understanding local culture nuances is becoming increasingly important for businesses to reach wider audiences and also build trust, because it's important to also communicate with people at their level. Something that's also not mentioned a lot would be, and that would be my 8th pointer on the same, sustainability and CSR. There's a growing awareness of environmental and societal issues in Africa. As a founder of Let's Create Africa, the organization, one thing I'm pretty keen about is actually seeing how can Africa change the way it tackles poverty and sustainability, having sustainability practices and social entrepreneurs and social enterprises is highly key for such a continent, because not only do we think about profit with a social enterprise, you'll also have to think about purpose and impact, because the real value of a business in Africa should be, number 1, to meet real needs, number 2, to create real value, not fictioners, not PR, and number 3, to create real wealth. Because in Africa, if you employ 5 people directly, then you're saving 10, 20, 30, 40 other people indirectly. That money goes to a whole family. It's a whole community of people. Other people would call it black tax. We call it community and Ubuntu. So different dynamics around that. And something I must insist on, decolonizing the language of community and philanthropy and charity in Africa. That has to be done. I took a tangent on that one. So getting back to other trends I'm seeing would be data analytics. Data is king now, while customer is queen. That can be debated differently, but it's something I should put out there. Collaborative marketing, where collaborations between businesses and startups are really on the rise, and all of them leverage on technology, each other's customer bases, and also expertise to reach new markets. Something that also should be talked about, because it comes to policy and regulation, would be regulatory compliance. African governments, in good and also bad ways, have now seen there's an ever evolving need to be involved in the digital landscape, and define policy, define regulation. Again, I repeat, it's both a good and bad affair, but it has to be done also, because compliance with data protection and privacy regulations have to exist, including internet governance and digital rights, because also citizens have to be protected.
No, he probably disconnected for a second. Hmm. All right, I think he'll be back in a second. Let him fix the situation. Jeff, I will proceed to you before he is back. Thank you for his insight. Well, Jeff, I hear you have a very extensive experience in graphic design, which is also connected to marketing. So, connected to our topic today, I'd like to ask you, um, can you share some innovative ways that you've observed, when you use visual communication to enhance marketing in your transplantation services that you work at, or any, other initiatives in Kenya? And can these innovative ways be applied to other, sectors in your country to help with the better marketing and sales processes?
Thank
Just.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. I had started enjoying Higa's sentiments till he got lost, but there is no problem. I think about Africa is contextualizing the information that we get from out there, especially from the West, for startups, international organizations. They have a lot of potential to come and do business in Africa, especially in Kenya. There is a lot of sustainable business that can sustain an organization, whether it's a startup or an international organization. The important thing is what I call fit for purpose, or localizing the content. And nowadays in Africa, there is a lot of internet penetration. Most cities, most places, there is access to Wi-Fi, access to mobile phones. And marketing relies on visual communication, because my area is graphic design and marketing. And visual communication is used to convey messages and engage the audience. And nowadays we have a lot of engagements on social media, and in social media marketing, we can do compelling posts, compelling graphics, which can receive more engagements. The most important thing is to understand your audience, especially the African audience, make visually appealing advertisements, and have an engaging way, or that you can be able to connect with your customers. The most important thing is to enhance that engagement. This can be done in so many ways. The first one that I can think of is by use of infographics. Infographics is a way of data presentation so that it is visually appealing, so that communities can be able to absorb this knowledge. You make it presentable through infographics. The other second way is having interactive visuals. Nowadays, because of TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you can have interactive quizzes that people can be able to engage with, because you are looking for, as an organization, the most important thing you are looking for is customer feedback. What we are selling, are customers receptive to our products, to our services? So the most important thing is, how can you be able to craft, how can you be able to be innovative, so that we can be able to get feedback from our customers? So interactivity comes in terms of, you can have quizzes, you can have polls to be able to engage the audience. And the most important thing is that collect feedback that you can be able to use to improve your services. You can have explainer videos about how to use your products. We have, when a new road is coming, we can be able to do videos on how to be able to use that road. And when there is any new information, videos, they say picture speaks 1,000 words. So when you show someone, it could be able to be very easy. The other innovative way that you can be able to nowadays use is by use of user-generated content. This gives you a lot of feedback. If there is a product that you have that is in the market, or a service, users themselves can do videos. They can be able to complain. through these social media channels, and you can be able to get that information. You can use a technology called crowdsourcing, which is very easy to use, and you could be able to enhance. And from things that Waihiga talked about, like data analysis, you can do predictive analysis and be able to know how to improve your products from the feedback that you get. And you could be able to do business from that. The other thing that you can be able to use as what I call ephemeral content, content like Instagram stories. Many people are not using those ones. Facebook stories, like content that doesn't stay there for long, like WhatsApp status. I think by being innovative or what you'll be able to use, then it becomes easier. Then there's innovative ways, new technologies like doing a visual search. Your products and services should be able to be searched visually, so that you allow for new customers or potential customers who are coming into your platforms to be able to use. Then now there is these future technologies which I don't think have been be able to be able to be used locally in Africa, like virtual reality, augmented reality. We've not been able to use virtual reality to show the customer experience. Like if there's a new product or a new service, we've not been able to show that reality virtually. This I think can be things like machine learning. We need to go more into technology, which we are missing. There are things like AI, which we are yet to see the full potential of it. Then we can use chatbots, especially in our websites, which can answer, which can be able to answer customers 24/7, even without human interaction. That is through use of AI. And I think there's so many interactive ways, there's so many innovative ways that marketers and salespeople could be able to use these technologies. The most important thing is that in Africa, there is a lot of potential, which for new businesses, for international organizations to be able to use our content. I think that's all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jeff. And even though Vahiga dropped off again, I wanted to thank him for his presentation. I wanted to say that I really loved the line between Phumza and Vahiga's answer about even though digital transformation is really important, there is increasing trend, when it comes to delivering the value. It's not just about the company and what they make. You really have to provide cultural value, human value, and etc. And the use of small influencers that he mentioned, yes, they definitely stand out because they're real, and what customers want right now is something real that they can relate to actually get the service. So I absolutely agree with this. Thank you so much for this great insight. And my last question is to tackle for all of us. We've mentioned digital transformation, but we see that this use of technology and different platforms is just growing every day. There's new platforms emerging, and I feel like it's also in Africa. Even if it's not being used in certain regions, they would absolutely love to pick up on this. So I would like you as experts share your insights on the role of digitalization in Africa and what our audience should be aware of when they start their businesses or just developing and growing bigger in Africa.
I'll give
Phumza?
it a, yeah, let me give it a bash. I think, Kate, what is important is really, even when you don't understand the technology, get involved, get your presence on the platforms that are there and start learning on them. I'll tell you why. We have a situation in Africa where we had a lot of the brick and mortar kind of organizations deciding that they were slow in adapting digital as well. You would think that there's funding, there's everything, but because we were going into a terrain that is unknown in most instances, when Instagrams came and being online and all of those things, you still had the traditional CIO who wanted to retain things. They wanted to keep the servers. When you talked about cloud computing, when the organizations tried to introduce change, it was difficult to change, and this is where the biggest opportunity lies for entrepreneurs. It's just that agility and the versatility to try on new things. What you found, especially, I have an example in the retail space, you found there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are selling, you know, clothing lines, jewelry, and so on, small entrepreneurs who were like nowhere to be known. When they realize that there's this equalizer that is called a digital platform that can all of a sudden, Phumza with her small enterprise can start introducing her goods, you know, to the world, because there's no limits. Right now, it's probably contained within your geographic area because of certain costs. You had a lot of these entrepreneurs starting to post their things online, you know, with real access to real customers, you know, being available on the same kind of equal platform. There was a little bit of resistance on the older, you know, brick and mortar retailers to get onto the internet. And I think for the longest time, the impact was not felt. But now the realization is that the decisions to make that purchasing opportunity, you can find a person lying on the bed on a Friday or Saturday morning deciding what to wear. And they can make that decision in an instant because there's access, there is advertising that's being pushed to them, and it's starting to really create an impact. It went even broader than that because it was just not limited to us. Now all of a sudden, there's a bit of disintermediation in also that industry where you have, you know, the supply chain, the suppliers, you know, accessing the retail customers directly. You can imagine the businesses that will be affected that were part of the middlemen in that value chain. So I think what becomes important is don't wait to be the last mover when it comes to digital transformation. There'll always be, yes, all of the issues that we're raising, access is an issue, especially in certain countries because of connectivity. And I think the greatest part of it is also if you're coming now to the technologies, it's the fear in people because they've never been exposed to these things, the coding aspects. You know, they think, you know, when you've never been taught technology at school, it becomes this overwhelming concept to pick up. But what becomes easier is once you've started, it becomes easier to learn all the other platforms. So if there's anything, the youth are getting it and they're really creating. I mean, the content that the gentlemen are talking about, you must see the content in Africa and how these guys start from nothing and blow up in like a few months because they get it. And once they get it, they're able to run with it. So digital transformation, I think we're still, I mean, like why, as I think Jeff mentioned that we're still going to see the biggest impact. I think it's about Africa utilizing digital transformation for what we're good at, which is specifically around arts, around creativity, and not necessarily wanting to replicate what everyone has done and what everyone has invested in. I mean, you have many, regions investing in different things. Some are investing in manufacturing in the technology space. Some are investing in chips, and some are investing in because they have the funding, they have the investments that come with it. But Africa has to find that niche, and I think they're finding it because they're finding it in creativity. They are finding it. I mean, if you're looking at the metaverse kind of things, you know, fashion is going to be important there. You know, arts is going to be important there. So it's about Africa refining that specialization and those good spots and really playing in those niche spaces. Start playing in the NFT space because we are creative by nature, we're colorful by nature. So play in those spaces and just find your way. Listen, you know, go to these meetings, go to the conferences, you'll pick up on the language and you'll learn. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Waihiga. We are talking about the role of digital transformation in the African market, and you already started talking about this. Do you have anything to add that our audience should be aware of?
I think just wrapping up on what I was talking about and the various instances where digital transformation is happening. And it's good. I had Phumza actually mention it. Virtual reality and augmented reality is actually something that exists. It might not be widespread, but while honestly it's still in its early stages, both in the West and more so in the global South, they are being explored for immersive marketing experiences in industries like real estate, tourism, and education. And so maybe actually to conclude on that part of my point is that Africa's marketing and sales landscape is dynamic and rapidly evolving. And we need to be very aware of that. Businesses and startups that adapt to these trends and stay ahead of the curve will be, now and in future, well positioned to succeed in the diverse and vibrant African markets. Because now technology is a strategy. It's not just it's a strategy in the business itself. Yeah.
Thank you. That sounds very inspiring. Thank you. And Jeff, do you have your own insight on this?
I think when computers came, people thought that they would lose their jobs because now their computers will be able to do people's jobs. But I think the same way we should be able to embrace these technologies that are coming, because they're not here to do your work. I think they're here to complement what people are doing and to be able to help people to accomplish their goals. In terms of businesses realizing return on investments, businesses not just looking at the bottom line, but looking at how sustainable they can be able to be. And for me, as Waihiga says, and Phumza, content is king. It's all about storytelling, which speaks to the African needs. Should be able to understand the African market, should be able to understand content and storytelling on what they can be able, what Africans can be able to look up to. And most of that is be able to be seen by monitoring and evaluation of marketing strategies, what you put in place. And people should be able to embrace their new technologies. Like there's a lot of improved user experience technologies in terms of improved websites, mobile applications, and even landing pages. So we should be able to embrace these technologies. They are here to stay. We shouldn't see them like they're ephemeral, as I had said. They're not here to pass. They're here to stay. Should be able to embrace them, and we should be able to make them fit for purpose, make them fit for what we are able to do, so that we can be able to build sustainable businesses.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's such a great wrap up. And I'd like to say that compared to many, many sessions that I've had, this one was so insight packed. And I'm really grateful for you for taking your time today to share all of this. It's really inspiring and it's really I'm ending this, conversation on a very positive note. Thank you for that. And I hope if our audience enjoyed this conversation, I highly encourage you to check the caption and see how you can work with these wonderful, lovely humans to help you tackle your marketing and sales problems. Again, thank you so much and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very
Goodbye.
much.